Time to tune in. Now another sports center. It's a movement.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Touchdown with Doug Smith. I got the most awesome co-hosts in the house with me here today, Mr. Mike Williams and Adrian Campbell. What's going on, gentlemen?
What's going on, man?
Hey, brother, football is back. So you know it's a beautiful day.
Yes. And, man, preseason just started last week, and we got a lot to talk about. But in this episode, we're going to take it to the AFC North, probably one of the most competitive divisions. I mean, you got at least one team that's up and coming in the Bengals and three other teams that are playoff, maybe even Super Bowl contenders. We're going to talk about that today. But we got season predictions. So if you're a Bengals fan, Steelers fan, Browns fan, Ravens fan, any of those teams, we're going to do a season prediction for each and every team. So you guys stay tuned. While you're at it, hit the subscribe button so you can get a lot more dope content like this. In the meantime, we're going to go ahead and take it over to the Midwest, Cincinnati Bengals, okay? Now, the Bengals, you guys already know Mr. Joe Burrow. He had a season-ending injury against the Washington football team last year against Mr. Chase Young. I love what I saw. The receiver core got better. I have some concerns about the O-line and stuff like that. I'm going to go and kick this off with Mr. Mike Williams. What is your prediction for the Cincinnati Bengals this upcoming year?
Yeah, man, the Cincinnati Bengals are, like you said in the intro, man, a young up-and-coming team. Last year went 4-11. This year, I believe they will go 6-11. Last year they went 4-11-1. My bad. This year, I think they'll go 6-11. With Joe Burrow coming back, you know, he was showing last year that he could be a baller, absolutely. When healthy, if he gets a little protection and some weapons. But I think it's going to be really hard for them to take a massive leap because, for one, they're in the AFC North, which is a very difficult division. And for two, they've lost veterans like Gio Bernard, Geno Atkins, William Jackson, A.J. Green, although he has been hurt for a while. The reports that he looks like the old A.J. Green. But they added Jamar Chase, which I thought was elite. And they added Jackson Carman, and then they added a late round draft pick at tackle and Dante Smith out of East Carolina that I like. So I just think they're going to struggle a little bit, man, being in that division. Their offensive line isn't exactly where it needs to be in their secondary. They lost pretty much everybody. So I think with that being said, their offense will probably do their thing, but their defense is going to struggle. And in that division, you can't struggle on defense. So that's where my 6-11 prediction comes from.
I love it. Adrian, what you got?
Man, bad news for the Bengals. Look, Mike Williams is being absolutely generous. Make sure y'all send him Christmas cards and all sorts of stuff. Bengals fans, let me talk to you. 2-15. It hurts. And here's the thing. You guys had a chance to go ahead and grab Penei Sewell. You say you went for Jamar Chase. I can respect it because, you know, what good is the quarterback if you don't have no weapons for him to throw to? But also, what good is the quarterback if he can't stand upright to make those throws? A lot of talk coming out of the Bengals training camp and stuff that we've been seeing with Joe Burrow is, yes, he is healthy, but exactly how healthy is he? Is he 100%? And they said mentally you can just see that he is not in the same place that he was when he started out his career last season. That injury has taken a toll on him, and it will take some time for him to mentally snap back into it and be that swaggy player that he was. I'm rooting for Joe Burrow. I liked him. I thought he was exactly what the Bengals needed at the quarterback position. It's a shame that they haven't, you know, gotten anything to protect him with. And then, you know, Jamar Chase, as spectacular as a receiver that he is, they were hoping that connection between Burrow to Chase would come back instantly. And they're saying even that has become a struggle right now, that they're struggling finding the chemistry. And that's not necessarily on Jamar Chase. Like I said, once again, that's Joe Burrow with the mental struggles. Like Mike touched on, the defense got decimated. It wasn't a prolific defense in the first place. And in this division, you absolutely have to have a defense. The reason for the 2-15, man, is not because I don't think this is an offense capable of scoring more points. Unfortunately, this year it's just going down to strength of schedule, man. I'm looking at their schedule and seeing the opponents that they got to play this year. They got to play a lot of dogs this year, including, you know, the rest of the guys in their own division. And, you know, they got to tangle with that AFC West, who you and Mike had talked about earlier in one of our earlier prediction shows. That is a super, super competitive division. And, I think there's at least 3 viable teams out of that division, if not all 4 being viable. But yeah, man, unfortunately, it's a strength of schedule thing for the Bengals. 2-15. It's going to cost Zach Taylor his job. I hate it for him because he just wasn't set up to win over there. But he'll be back in LA with McVay next year. So a win for him.
I love it. Yeah, I have the Bengals. I'm kind of in between both of you. You got them 2-15. I know, Mike, you have them at 6 wins. I have them at 4 wins. I have them at 4 wins for the entire season, 4-13, I believe it is. And it's going to be another year because you're rebuilding a whole entire team. You have the most important part in Joe Burrow. Okay, so yes, you can look at this season like, oh man, we're gonna suck again. Well, it's been bad for a long time. But listen, what makes this different from 5 years ago, from 10 years ago, is you have a shot at really building a beautiful empire. I mean, you got Higgins, and then also you got Jamar Chase. Man, that receiver core is looking really, really nice. I do like what they did on the O-line. I think that their O-line did get better, but mind you, these are rookies, so they're going to have to get broken into. I'm hoping they get a lot of playing time as well, too, this preseason. But Jackson Carman, guard from Clemson, and then also as well, they got, I was pulling it up right here, Dante Smith from East Carolina, okay? Dante Smith, from what I read about him, he's a pretty solid pick. Can he be a starter? Possibly. He definitely adds depth to the O-line, worst case scenario. But yeah, I have them at a total of 4 wins. Again, pretty much the same as last year. However, let's see what happens. They could definitely upset a team or two, but when you're you mentioned something, Adrian, you're in the team with the Steelers, the Ravens, and of course the Cleveland Browns. These ain't the Browns from before. Got them at 4 wins, and that's tops. So, but the next team we're gonna take and talk about, take it over to the Steel City, Pittsburgh. Black and yellow. We're going to talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers and our predictions for them. I'm going to go ahead and kick this one off here. For the Pittsburgh Steelers, this is going to be a year where possibly the Steelers, Ravens, and then also the Browns could all make it to the playoffs. They're all super competitive. But if I had to say the team that has the best defense, I have to take and give it to the Steelers. That's the best thing about the team. They have exciting receivers. Ben Roethlisberger, he looks recharged. Obviously, last year, the way the season ended was so deflating, especially if you're a Pittsburgh fan. You don't want your season to take an end that way. But the defense is better than I've seen for the Steelers in the last decade. They look phenomenal. They look great. They got Melvin Ingram recently. They're getting better. I see a team that's getting better. A lot of this has been Roethlisberger and how well he's going to do. However, I have the Steelers taking and ultimately going 12-5. I have them losing a total of 5 games. The schedule is also pretty difficult as well, too. You're in that division. It's going to be scrappy, but that defense is going to bail you out a lot of times. So I have Pittsburgh Steelers going 12-5. Adrian, what you got?
Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike Tomlin is going to continue his winning ways and having winning seasons above 500. However, because I believe this division is going to be so competitive with the top 2 teams in the division, and I don't include this one in the top 2 teams for this division. I have the Steelers going 9-8, missing the playoffs. Yes, all this talk about Big Ben looks like the old Big Ben of your, Super Bowl caliber Big Ben. I don't believe it. Not at all. Not for a second. And even if he is playing like that, he'll play like that for a few weeks. I think over the course of an 18-week regular season, 17 games, I just don't see him being able to maintain that level, if in fact he actually is playing at that level. There's a lot of questions there on the offensive line. Pittsburgh has always been known for being very aggressive up front offensively. They let a lot of people go. And Mike Tomlin, if you listen to his interviews, he seems very confident in what he has in the offensive line. I'm inclined to trust, Mike Tomlin, because he does have the experience. He does have the record to back him up. But once again, you got to show me. And I know they got who I think has the potential to be Offensive Rookie of the Year, Najee Harris in that backfield. But Najee Harris is only going to be as effective as that offensive line. As talented and as explosive as he is, I think he's going to be limited by that offensive line trying to come together for the first part of the season. The receivers are, like I said, good. I think Chase Claypool is a lot better than most people want to give him credit for. Juju Smith-Schuster continues to be a reliable receiver. But I think the case for him being a true number one is dead and gone. He's a number 2, and that's okay. That's okay. He's still a threat on the field. You still have to respect him, but he is not a number 1 receiver. Doug, you hit it. That defense of the Steelers might be the best in the AFC North. I would say there is potential, because we haven't seen this squad yet. There is potential for the Browns to take that title as the best defense in the NFC North this season.
I agree.
I really like what they have on their roster, but this defense is going to definitely be anchored by TJ Watt, Minka Fitzpatrick. They're getting Devin Bush back, my guy out of Michigan, who I love. He's such a tough, nasty player. But what does he look like coming back from injury, man? That's the biggest question, because a healthy Devin Bush combined with the TJ Watt, that is a pass rush that you just don't want to deal with. What kind of version of Melvin Ingram are we going to get, man? Are we going to get a quasi-healthy one? Is he going to be able to play at least over 50% of the snaps? I would hope so, because it seems like he's going to be in a rotational role there. So the defense is still going to be prolific. It's just going to be about really this offense. Can they move the ball? And more importantly, can they put it in the end zone? Kicking field goals will not win you this division. Steelers 9-8.
Oh, love it. Love it. Mike, what you got?
Yeah, man, I agree 100%. And the only reason I'm saying 9-8 is because Mike Tomlin is their head coach, and I really do trust him. But losing David DeCastro, Alejandro Villanueva, Bud Dupree, I mean, Marquise Pouncey, you don't get better by that. And I think last year they were the worst 11-0 team in the NFL history, and then they finished the year going 1-4. And I think that's going to kind of start into the season, because they have a lot of young pieces at important positions, like their offensive line, their secondary. They have a few young pieces as well. So, again, I do love the Najee Harris pick. You guys, I like the Pat Freiermuth pick. I think he's going to contribute right away at tight end. But just with some of the moves they make, and Ben Roethlisberger the last few years, I mean, he's thrown up stats, but he has not looked like Ben, right? Like, he hasn't looked like the normal Ben Roethlisberger we're used to seeing. So I don't think, and I realistically think they could be the third best defense in that division. They could be 2A or 2B or 3. Really, I don't think they're going to be the best defense in that division, although they have some pieces. But again, because of those things, I think they're going to kind of regress towards the mean again, because that 11-0 start was really fictional to me, and they limped into the playoffs and got destroyed by the Browns. So I really do see them going 9-8, and the only reason I'm saying 9-8 is because they have one of the elite coaches in the league. So
absolutely. I'll add this on the final point, is that I would like to see more personal growth on the field with Juju Smith-Schuster and Chase Claypool. Love the celebrating, keeps the game fun and stuff like that. But there was some really sore losers at the end of the season, so I would like them to get better. Also personally as well too. I think that's going to reflect on the field as well.
Well, I think Juju is what he is at this point. I think Chase has got a lot more opportunities for development. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to just write Juju off as the fact that he can't grow, but I think he's demonstrated he's not interested in being somebody else. This is who he wants to be right now. Chase, like I said, he's young, he's fiery, he's passionate. Twitter fingers do be itching with him a lot. But I also believe that during the offseason, I believe that Mike Tomlin kind of pulled him to the side and said, hey, there's a way to do these things, and it's okay that you're frustrated. I like your passion, but maybe stay off the social media, because how Tomlin feels about the social media.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. It gets people in a lot of trouble. All right, next team, same division, is going to be the Baltimore Ravens. The flock, go ahead and come out and make sure that y'all definitely comment on some of these hot takes here, because we got a lot to say on the Ravens here. I'm going to go ahead and have Mr. Mike Williams go ahead and kick it off.
Yeah, man, I really think they're going to win the same amount of games they won last year at 11 and lose one more because of the extra game with 6. They did add Alejandro Villanueva, which is a direct strengthening of their team and a direct weakening of a division rival. So I do like moves like that. They got Sammy Watkins, Kevin Zeitler, Michael Schofield. So they remade their O-line a little bit. Again, they did lose Orlando Brown, but Alejandro Villanueva is a serviceable replacement for that. And really the biggest name they lost was Yannick Ngakoue. But I do believe that with their scheme, they're going to be able to kind of make up for him leaving there. It's not like he had a major impact. What I'm curious to see is if Rashad Bateman heals up, because he had that core surgery, and how quickly he's able to contribute after missing a sizable amount of time this offseason, and what they do with Tylan Wallace at Oklahoma State, speedster. So I'm just kind of curious to see how those guys mesh into there, because they unfortunately weren't able to sign many receivers that they were targeting other than Sammy Watkins. And I do believe, they're going to have a top 2, top 3 rushing attack. That's historically how their offense has been under Harbaugh. But they do need to be able to stretch the field a little bit for teams to really give them the space that they need. So I have them going 11-6. Definitely being in the wild card. But yeah, I think they're going to be a tough team that people don't want to play, and they're going to tire you out.
Love it. Adrian, what's your take on them?
Ravens going to take second place in the division. I'm going to go just a little bit different than what my co-host Mike over here. I'm going to give them 10-7. Like I said, they lost some pieces on the offensive line. Really big. Orlando Pace. I mean, come on, Orlando Brown Jr. Man, like he's a generational talent. I truly believe that at his position. I'm happy that he was able to get what he wanted, and I'm happy that the team acquiesced, but this team is not better for that. Villanueva is no slouch, but he's also not the same. He's a veteran that knows what to do. He's going to help keep Lamar upright. But for so long, I think you fast forwarded your timetable by making that move with Orlando Brown, because that is a piece that you're going to need to replace sooner rather than later in Villanueva. And something that people are not really talking about is Ronnie Stanley, who I think is also another, key piece of this offensive line, but he did get hurt. And how's he going to come back? What is he going to look like? At this point in the season, every injured player from last season says the same thing. Oh, this is the best I ever felt. I feel back to 100%. Let's see it in real game action. I hope that he is recovered because they're really going to need him this season. There's no true number one wide receiver on this roster at all. Nobody has emerged for that spot. I think just de facto number one is just going to be Sammy Watkins, but much like Juju Smith-Schuster, Sammy Watkins is not a true one. He's a 2. And he's proved that in every single destination that he's been, is that he's a 2. The only time that he had a chance to be a 1 was it Buffalo, his initial location, and even then you might have said that he was playing 2 to Kelvin Benjamin at the time. We can go back and forth on that, but Marquise Brown still hasn't participated at training camp. He's still nursing some kind of injury that he incurred, so he hasn't participated. Miles Boykins, who was coming on last year and ended up being one of Lamar's better targets. There's a lot of chatter that he may not even make the 53-man roster this time around, and that they're looking to actively trade him. So I'm just kind of confused. No Dez Bryant there, and say what you want to say about Dez. He does provide a reliable target. He's not going to run past you no more. But, those pieces are not there. The defense is – the Ravens, I think, historically have been known for defense, much like the Steelers, and I see this defense being pretty much the same. They're missing some pieces, but they're still going to be a threat. And Lamar Jackson, obviously still the most explosive player, I think, in the NFL, especially at that position. He's just given, defensive coordinators nightmares, because how do you game plan against him? And if he continues to progress like he has these previous 2 seasons with him being able to sit in the pocket and throw the ball, he's only becoming more and more of a threat. So I think they have the potential for that wild card spot. Maybe. I think that the AFC is going to be a lot more competitive than it has been in years. So I think a 10-7 record may get you bounced out of the playoffs period. But yeah, they have a chance. Playoffs, maybe 10-7, Baltimore Ravens.
I love it. My take on the Ravens, the O-line definitely got better. In the draft, I saw that they got Ben Cleveland. That's a 3rd round pick. A lot of people weren't talking about. He came out of Georgia. Georgia consistently has one of the best O-lines in all of college football. And then, of course, you mentioned they got Villanueva as well, too. I do want to comment on the wide receiver position, because Rashad Bateman, there were certain groups online, and online is just chitter chatter, but there's still groups online were saying that he was possibly the best wide receiver in the draft, man. I mean, Bateman is a beast. So he's obviously out. He tore his ACL. We're not going to see him this year, but for next year, again, another episode for another day. But I'm going to go give my hot take. I have them ultimately taking and winning 12 games. I have them winning 12 games. They're going to tease us. They're going to be in the conversations for being a Super Bowl contender, much like the Steelers, much like the Cleveland Browns, who we're going to take and cover next. But I got them with 12 wins, 4 losses. 12 wins, 5 losses. I forgot about the extra game in there. But it should be interesting. And it could easily fall all the way down to them going 10-7 as well, too. So but I'm going to give them benefit of doubt. And the only reason I do this, and I don't do this for a lot of teams, the biggest leader on their team is Lamar Jackson. He is the fuel to the fire of that organization. You call that man a damn running back one more dang time, he is going to have a field day. He has a very good arm. The wide receiver core did get better, but not a lot better. And I only said because Rashad Bateman is injured, so we're not going to see him this year. But that running back game, we're going to take and see J.K. Dobbins in year 2. I do believe he had a solid offseason of growth. That's going to kick into play as well, too. That their running game is going to be better than it's been in years. So very excited for them. And we'll see. And again, go down below. Let us know if you agree and let us know who you think is ultimately more accurate. And before we cover the final team, you guys make sure you go down below, hit that subscribe button. If you want to donate to the channel, hey, information is down below. Let us know. That helps for us to take and grow, make more dope content like this. And in the meantime, we're going to cover the dog pound.
Dog, real quick before we get over to the dog pound, because there's something else that's going on with Lamar Jackson. That I just wanted to point out. And I hate even bringing it up because it's such a sensitive topic right now. But as everybody is aware, the NFL is really cracking down on vaccinations for their players, for their teams and personnel. Lamar Jackson has contracted COVID twice already. And, you know, it's one of those things where he's like, oh, you know, my decision is private. And that's fine. I respect that. I'm not saying people should or should not do things that they're comfortable with. But being that he is the engine of that team, he is the leader of that team, and just based off how long he had to be held out this last time, because he was just coming out of COVID protocol, it's safe to say that he's unvaccinated. And if that is a big looming issue for them in the season, because if he is not available to play because of COVID reasons, whether it be he's actually contracted COVID again or close contact, because he is unvaccinated, that is a 14-day waiting period. And he has to come back with the negative, versus where if he is vaccinated, close contact, he can get back on the field much, much quicker. I would hate to see the Ravens lose unnecessary games because Lamar Jackson is not under center because of COVID protocols imposed by the league. I would hate it. But that's just the league that we're living in. This is the world that we're living in now. So, you know, maybe something changes. Maybe he gets the information that he's looking for and he goes and gets vaccinated. But right now, I think the COVID-19 disease is the biggest threat to the Baltimore Ravens' success this season.
I got you. Yeah, no, it's that you made a good point, man. I mean, it's 2 times he got it, so we'll see what happens. That could go for anybody, you know, not just him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, there's hundreds of players in the NFL, so let's hope that things get better for all of us, and that you know, if vaccination is your thing, get it. If not, you know, just make sure you take precautions at the end of the day, you know. All right, next team we're going to take and cover is going to be Diggity Dog Pound. Cleveland Browns. This team is – I'm going to go ahead and kick this one off first. Man, Cleveland Browns are – man, I don't even know where to start, man. They're a Super Bowl contender, one of the best wide receiver cores in the NFL, one of the best defensive fronts in the NFL. They have depth in a lot of positions that a lot of other teams don't. You guys already know injuries happen all the time in the NFL. I'm excited. I'm excited for the Cleveland Browns. They're going to shock the world. This division is going to be nasty. There's going to be fights in this division. You got the Steelers, man. They are no slouch. You have the Ravens that are no slouch. And then, of course, you already know the Bengals. They're trying to, you know, improve off of last year. Got a very excited prospect in Joe Burrow. Anywho, I'm just gonna say it. I have them ultimately losing 4 games the whole year. The Cleveland Browns, 4 games. That defense got a lot better. They had a fantastic draft. I love what they're doing in Cleveland. I have them with 13 wins and 4 losses for the year. And when we do our Super Bowl predictions, that's an episode for another day. Make sure y'all subscribe so that way you guys can catch that one. I might even have them in the conversation. But let me know if you guys agree. Mr. Mike Williams, what are your thoughts on the Cleveland Browns and what's your season predictions?
Yeah, we're like a game different, man. I believe they're going to go 12-5 and end up winning the division for sure. I think at some of the moves they made, like they lost Kevin Johnson, Terrence Mitchell, replaced them with Mike Kenton and Troy Hill. So I feel like that was kind of a lateral move. They got rid of Sheldon Richardson and Adrian Claiborne and replaced them with Javion Clowney and Malik Jackson. I feel like that was an upgrade. Actually, and you throw in Tack McKinley. So I feel like they upgraded on their line. Their secondary is going to be coming back a little more healthy, and they added John Johnson III. They're in the conversation of the best secondary in the NFL, along with like the Broncos and a couple other teams. So I solidly believe they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. And last year they had a taste of playoff success for the first time, and I believe they're going to come back even more hungry now. In addition to that, we can't forget OBJ's coming back this year. How's he going to fit back in the offense? I think it'll take a couple of weeks, but I think after he saw the success they had last year without him, he is somebody who wants to win, to be a part of winning. So I think he's going to fit in and make that room a little more dangerous, because that's a deep receiving room. So this team is just deep at a lot of positions, man, and I think they're going to end up coming out in that division, and they're going to be another one of them teams that doesn't anybody want to play in the playoffs. You don't want to see the Browns in the playoffs. You're not going to want to see them when it's cold. That's not the team you want to see for coming off a couple of injuries, because they're going to be physical, beat you up. You know, Chubb got his money this offseason, so it's going to be interesting to kind of see them run that division, but they're definitely built to, compete for the Super Bowl.
I love it. I love it. Adrian, what you got the Browns going as?
Man, I got an identical prediction to you, Doug. I got them going 13-4. I got them really, really leading this division. I love what their front office has done. I love the whole turnaround of this team that started last year, from the coaching to, the general manager, just to the people all the way up top. I think the Browns finally have found a winning formula. And not only that, they have the roster to match the front office. This ain't your granddaddy's Browns, okay? And I'm not by any stretch of the imagination a Browns fan. I don't hate the Browns, but the Browns, I think we can all agree, are probably one of the cornerstone franchises of the NFL. And in my opinion, when you have some of these cornerstone franchises, the league is just better when they're relevant and when they're competing. You don't necessarily have to like it, but the league is better for it. So I'm very, very excited for the Browns. I'm happy for their fans after decades and decades of misery, that they have something realistically to be hopeful for, and it's not just some kind of weird delusion. This is a team that could realistically compete for a Super Bowl this season. The defense is stacked all the way from the front to the back. They made a lot of good improvements with their secondary. Greedy Williams coming back off an injury. And even if Greedy Williams isn't the guy, he isn't the same. Let's not forget they drafted Greg Newsome, who in a lot of people's draft board was coming off as probably one of the top cornerbacks in the draft. He's an absolute dog. Opposite that is Denzel Ward, that continues to prove his value. He's going to start backing up the Brinks truck for this kid, because he's going to earn it. John Johnson III, I think, is a proven player. Me getting to watch him for the last few years with the Rams firsthand, he's going to anchor that secondary and really provide some of that veteran leadership. And then this year, we'll see what Grant Delpit does, because unfortunately he got injured super early last year. So we didn't really get a chance to watch him play, but he was a dog in college. So I'm very excited to see him on the field. Myles Garrett is going to do Myles Garrett things. And I think, the guy that I think that we should be talking about a lot more, second round pick. I can't believe he even fell to the second round. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. That is a day one plug and play linebacker, and he's gonna earn his money very, very early in this defense. And because of how good that secondary is, and because of his play over the middle, expect Myles Garrett to have a career year. And I'm talking legitimate contender for Defensive Player of the Year. And I hate that, because I feel in my heart Aaron Donald's going to show up for that. But Myles Garrett is going to be a threat. The biggest question on this team is, arguably the biggest question for a lot of these teams that are on the brink like this, is Baker Mayfield going to take another step forward, or is he going to regress? He's got a lot of things going in his favor. It's going to be the second year with Kevin Stefanski, so he's getting, some consistency for once in his career. And this is a prove-it year for him. They haven't backed up the truck for him yet either. I think ultimately the thought in the building is they will sign him, but the fact that no deal is done yet, I'm banking they want to see what they're going to get out of Baker before they go ahead and sign him to that long-term deal. Mike Williams mentioned it earlier. OBJ coming back into the fold can only make this offense a lot more explosive if he is able to fit back in. They have one of the best running back rooms in the league, period. And they picked up Demetric Felton, and I don't think a lot of people talk about him, but he's going to be a nice, third change of pace back. But Kareem Hunt is still there. He's still a problem. And then Nick Chubb, what do you want out of a running back? Just tough, rugged. He's got
everything,
but he's not afraid to run through you either. He does not shy away from contact. And he's great at blocking and protection schemes as well. So that this team is absolutely stacked. even without OBJ fitting back into the fold, they'll still go far and be able to compete. I hope OBJ is able to contribute on this team, but if I'm being honest with you, I think he gets moved before the trade deadline.
Oh, wow. Okay. I got you.
So 13-4, possible Super Bowl contenders. Congratulations, Browns fans. A lot to cheer for this season.
Yes. This is, if I had to pick one division, it'd be a cross between the NFC West and then the AFC North. I mean, those two divisions are just so freaking crazy right now. Like, it could go in many directions, and stuff. So it may even have the next Super Bowl contender in each of those divisions. So who knows? But you guys, thank you guys so much for taking and watching the show here today. Please go down below, hit that subscribe button. That helps grow and be part of Touchdown Nation. Adrian Campbell, Mr. Mike Williams, you guys freaking rock. Thank you guys for dropping IQ on the folks at Touchdown Nation and being here regularly. Definitely appreciate you guys. And you guys go ahead, drop a comment below. Let us know if you agree. Let us know who you think was more accurate. Maybe the stupid guy with the Bass Pro Shop hat, maybe that daggone Rams fan, or the guy with the glasses down below. Let us know what you think. Do you like, dislike? Let us know. And we appreciate you guys. Thanks for helping us get to 1,000 subscribers. The next goal is going to be 5,000 subscribers and so forth. But God bless you guys. Be safe out there. There's a nasty virus on the loose. Wash your dirty, nasty fans. Have a good night. Peace.
Turn 100 for the touchdown. King crown, gain inside, leading your town. Hit you faster than the sound. Bad boy, throw it down. Yeah, I'm ill, not my will. Don't cop a fill the house. Listen to the roaring crowd. Drop a light, calm it down. Heisman, all the haters mouth. Superhero hit them wow. Packing more action than bing, boom, bam, pow. Touchdown for the win. We live, subscribe right now.